If you think you need a big studio to become a professional photographer, you don't. My first studio was my living room. Let me show you how I built a real home studio from scratch and how you can too. What's up YouTube fam? My name is Immaculate Nwafor, founder of Imawide Photography. I'm also a fashion and commercial photographer based here in Calgary, Alberta. If you're new here, welcome and do well to subscribe to my channel. And to my returning YouTube fam, good to see you again. First off, I am a self-taught photographer. I never went to photography school. I started photography in 2022. I remember my husband got me my first camera, which was Canon EOS 700D. And so I did what any obsessed beginner would do. I bought a course on Udemy and then I started the binge watching on YouTube tutorials. I watched a lot of videos on editing, lighting, composition, color grading. Gosh, so many. Posing. I actually invested so much in learning than I did in photography gear. So when we bought our house, we didn't have any furniture. And so my studio at the time was literally an empty living room. I only had about 2 backdrops. That was a white paper backdrop and a gray paper backdrop. Then for lighting essential, I only had this one strobe light. That was it. Eventually, furniture started coming, but then it became very, very stressful because every time that a client was coming, we had to move everything. We had to move the couch on one side, the table on the other side. We even had to roll up the rugs. It was just very stressful. I remember clients would come in and I would act so calm. Meanwhile, in my head, I'm praying, God, please, I hope this goes well. And guess what? It did. Not because my space wasn't big, but because I practiced a lot. And that was when I realized that that space is not my limit. I also remember that after every shoot, we had to put things back in order. Of course we had to, but gosh, it felt so much like a gym workout. I think that's the time that we realized that we needed something better. Eventually, we decided to invest in converting our garage into a studio. Let me ask you something. Where are you shooting right now? Are you shooting in your bedroom, in your mom's kitchen, in a basement, in a studio? Drop your answers in the comments. I remember at the time our garage was just concrete walls and empty space. No storage, no design, nothing cute at all, but it had potential. The first thing that we did was to invest in building wooden storage bins inside the garage. We hired a carpenter and they came in to build the hanging systems across the wall. So now I can hang my backdrop rolls, my stands, my clamps, my accessories, essentially everything I own as a photographer, except the lights though. Everything has a place now in the storage in the garage. Let me save you some money right now. You do not need 10 backdrops for a start. Nope, you don't. When I started photography, I only had 2 backdrops. And they were both paper backdrops. So I had the white backdrop and the gray backdrop. And that was it. But gray is powerful because gray can become blue, beige, green, yellow, literally anything in post. Or you can even use gels if you want to achieve that on camera. That's one backdrop. I mean the gray backdrop. It saved me thousands. Even now, I own just one gray textured backdrop that costs me $700 plus. And I'm not looking to buy another one, at least not anytime soon. And here's what I've learned. You don't need more options. What you actually need is better understanding. And once you do, you're good to go. Lighting scared me at first because it can be very expensive. Like I mentioned earlier, I started with a cable-powered strobe, which is the Godox MS300, which meant that anytime I needed to use it, I need a wall plug. And that was a big limitation for me at the time because that meant that I had no outdoor freedom. If I have to take it outside to shoot, then I have to start looking for plugs. Where? How often am I going to see plugs outside or on locations? Like, it was just very stressful. So basically I couldn't shoot outdoors. But aside from that though, I did achieve very good results by using just that one light in the studio settings and pairing that with a reflector that bounces the light back. Trust me, there's so much that you can do with just one light, and by the time you master that, it's so much easier to incorporate more complex light setups. Thankfully, later on in my business, I invested in battery-powered strobes, and that was a game changer. So now I can shoot both indoors and outdoors without having to worry about plugs. Currently, I use Godox AD100 and AD600 strobes. Don't worry, we'll get to use Profoto someday. But hey, Profoto, if you're watching this, let's talk. You also need to invest in modifiers too, because that is also very important. Currently, I use Big Umbrella with diffusion, Octobox, Beauty Dish, and small reflectors with grid. And this helps me achieve different results from soft lights to sculpted hard lights and so on. Ultimately, you don't need to buy everything at once. Otherwise, you might end up regretting to buy things that you don't need. So give yourself time, and with experience, you will get to find out exactly what you need for your work. Another thing that I invested in is a strong light and backdrop stands. I got this ones from Strobe Pro Lighting here in Calgary. You really have to invest in sturdy stands, given that some of these strobes are heavy. At first, you might not need a C-stand, but you need something very sturdy to hold your light and your backdrops. Here is a natural light pro tip for you. During summer, I usually open up my garage door and the sky becomes pretty much one big soft box for me. Plus, the breeze that flows in is just another added gift of nature. And honestly, some of my favorite images were shot in this setting. Now, let's talk about something real. Canada is cold. Calgary can go to minus 40 degrees Celsius and below in winter. Yep, you cannot invite a client into a freezing garage. That is not professional. So what we did was that we installed an industrial garage heater. It's quite a big heating unit, and we attached it to the ceiling. So it blows warm air across the space, and within 15 minutes, the garage feels comfortable. It does have settings, so you have the option to make your space warmer. But use wisely though, because your electricity bill is watching. For this electrical setup, we did not install it ourselves. We did hire an electrician to come in and help us do that. Please do not DIY electrical work. If you want a full video on the heater setup, how much it costs us for proper installation and connection, let me know in the comments. Another thing we invested in was epoxy flooring, and this is just aesthetics. It's essentially a special coating that goes on top of concrete, so it makes the floor look smooth, shiny, easy to clean, and really strong. I did love the transformation in my space because it makes the garage look less like a parking space and pretty much like a studio. And it actually makes my space feel elevated. Clients always compliment the clean look, and that actually builds trust before the shoot even starts. Is it mandatory to have that? Absolutely not. You don't have to. So tell me, are you waiting for the perfect space or the perfect camera or the perfect time? Because truth be told, to get started, you don't need a big studio or a fancy studio or fancy gear or perfect conditions. What you need is intention. You need clarity and the willingness to keep going and getting better at what you do. The Bible says, do not despise small beginnings. My living room studio looked small, but the vision was big. So I just want to encourage you, wherever you are, honor your journey, build slowly, build wisely, and just commit your work to God. And don't forget, your space does not define your professionalism. Your thinking does. Your home can become a studio, your garage can become a branch, your living room can launch your legacy. Alright guys, we've come to the end of this video. If this helped you, kindly share, comment, like, subscribe and turn on your notification. If you're building your own home studio, I'd like to know where you are in your journey. And if you want a full video breakdown on heating, storage, lighting setups, leave me all your questions in the comments. And until next time, have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.